So this I discovered many years ago at a workshop in Ireland where a married couple came to the workshop, a 3-day program, and the woman had been born in this village, but she left when she married to the husband's wherever house. And coming back into the village, she basically had to go and visit her mother. Now, you put the mother and the daughter in the same room, and within 5 minutes, you've got sparks flying, and within 10 minutes, you've got saucepans flying. And there's a reason for this. Mothers and daughters are very, very similar genetics, of course, so they reflect each other almost perfectly. And if you can't stand yourself, then you're not going to stand your mother or your daughter. Anyway, the workshop was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Saturday night was planned to visit the mother. So she had Friday and Saturday listening to me waffle on and practice this clearing business. And she came in on the Sunday morning and she had this huge smile on her face. She said that she could have, there was no conflict at all with the mother. She could have spent another hour and a half there. They had such a wonderful time. The husband spent all night sitting there watching these two women with his mouth open. He couldn't believe that they were communicating so well. So what happens when two people, particularly in close relationship like this, or Christy's friend, who's not a friend, who really winds her up, when they meet, we've got this shadow, which we looked at on Tuesday briefly, about information that's stored in the memory, which hasn't been accepted, which hasn't been acknowledged, which is still hidden. It's in the subconscious, so we're not conscious that we carry it. Otherwise it wouldn't be a shadow, it wouldn't be subconscious. So we've got this stuff in this backpack, information, charge. And if we've got the same information here as here, what happens? This person, in this case a mother, is transmitting information, like a radio wave. We've spoken about it with anxiety earlier. So she's transmitting who she is. Can't do anything else. That's who she is. That's what she transmits. We all do it. And the daughter walks in to the room and picks up on this transmission. And because she's got so much similar stuff here, what happens is the brain produces neuropeptides. Neuropeptides become, through the hypothalamus, amino acids, which flood through the body. The amino acid is a chemical which enters the cell. The chemical associated with this transmission is one of uncomfortability, of stress, of pain, sadness, anger, whatever. So this physiological change that happens here changes the energetic transmission of the daughter. So now what the daughter's doing, she's transmitting her stuff. And of course that transmission hits the mother. Neuropeptides, amino acids of discomfort. So now her physiology has become even more energized by these chemicals. So of course what happens there is she's transmitting this now. And you can see what's going to happen, because while the woman, each of them, identify with these amino acids. Yes, exactly. While they identify with these amino acids, they produce more. So whatever feeling they had is amplified. Here we go. Now, these chemicals have reached a point where they're really critical, where they're really uncomfortable, where these people are feeling very distressed, very threatened. And what do you do when you feel very threatened? You get defensive. And when you get defensive, you've taken this seriously. And pretty soon, conflict is inevitable. You might start out by just abusing each other verbally, but if this keeps going, the next step from defensiveness is aggression. You attack. You start to throw things, you blame things, you say hurtful things, or you run away, really glad that Christmas only comes once a year. But you bear the memory of this charge. And then what happens, of course, and we'll get into this later on, probably next week, is that when you bear the memory of the charge, it doesn't take much to trigger a full-blown reaction. And Nicole was saying earlier, her stress is centered around the digestive system in the gut. Well, that's because the gut has more receptor sites for these chemicals than any other part of the body. So the gut is the early warning system. It's going ding, 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 panic, panic, panic. And if you continue to feed it, of course, ulcers, lower bowel diseases, blah, 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 are all possible because you're poisoning your body with these chemicals and you're taking them personally. No one's doing it to you. The mother's not doing it to you. You're doing it to yourself. Ooh. And that's happening all the time around the world, of course. When the daughter visited the mother on the Saturday night, daughter walked in, sort of knowing, in a sense, what was going on because of the time she'd spent in the workshop. But mother is still being mother, okay? So mother's still transmitting. And this is where clearing comes in. Mother's still transmitting information. Daughter notices the transmission. Ooh, here we go. Oh, hang on a moment. What did he say? Not mine. Not mine. And if she says it's not mine early enough, the brain doesn't produce the neuropeptides, the amino acids, the chemicals, the feelings, the discomfort. It doesn't produce them. This system stays relatively neutral, not buying into the drama. And so then, of course, what happens here, mother's transmission is not fed back. It's like a tennis match. The ball is out of play. She's not reacting, which is putting pressure on the mother's system, make the mother becomes more uncomfortable, she becomes more uncomfortable. So by her not giving energy to the feeling that arose, basically she's not playing that game. Got to be careful because mothers can change the goalposts when they wise up. But for the most part, this transmission is actually not just being allowed to disappear, but because this woman is supposed to be a heart. This woman's heart is now open and available. So the wave that's coming, the waveform, the transmission of information that's coming from the mother collapses into the heart and it's not fed back. And then, of course, when that happens, the mother starts to relax because she's not being threatened. And then you have communication. But then when she's doing this, what's happening here, and this is the clearing side of things, is that this, instead of feeding the drama, the mother's system can relax. It can be at peace, When the system's at peace, is not being stressed, not fight or flight, it can start to heal itself, which means this charge can start to dissolve. But it can't dissolve if this person's throwing the brick backwards and forwards all the time. Hopefully that has given you a bit of clarity on that.